Hi everyone, welcome to week 2 and your video for harmonic dictation. So this week we are going to be adding in the dominant 7th chord. So we're going to take the 5 chord and we're going to add the 7th. And that's the only thing that we're going to change for harmonic dictation. So it should just get a little bit more advanced from last week. So we're just adding that little piece to it. So let's talk about it. So remember that what we know is that there's a predictable framework with harmonic dictation. So you're going to have tonic expansion or some way to establish the tonic. And then you're going to have a predominant or multiple predominants. And then you're going to have a cadence. And we're taking that framework and we're going to learn it, lock it into our minds, and then expand upon it. So we are going to keep our focus on the tonic expansion this week. We're going to add in that dominant 7th chord, so the 7th of the 5 chord, and we could end on either a 5 or a 5-7, a 1 or a 1-6. You'll also get some motion from the 1 to the 1-6 chord, so we're going to kind of play around with tonic expansion a little bit more than going 1-5, 1-5, 1-5, 1. Okay, so this is going to update our solfege. So I made some flashcards and I sent them out to you. I'm actually going to send out the new version of it and post it with this video. Mine are a little messed up. When I cut them wrong, but you should have 7 and print them double-sided, and then you can cut them and you should be able to get a relatively good little flashcard here. So the front is a solfege syllable, and on the back there's 4 different categories: tonic expansion, predominant, dominant, and alternative opening or open. So the only category we have right now is tonic expansion. That's it. That's the only section of the progression that we're worried about at this point. So you want to go through and add in. So for 1, the only thing I should have on the back of 1 is under tonic expansion, I have 1. Okay. And you can do the major and minor version. So a big 1 and a small 1. Re, I'm going to have that 7 diminished 6 chord and the 5-6-4 or the passing 6-4. And then I'm going to add on the 5-4-3. Okay. Because we're getting that new syllable this week. Then for me or May, I'm going to have just the minor 1-6 under tonic expansion. That's it. Okay, and then fa, we're adding in fa this week, and we're going to get the 5-4-2, and that's going to go under tonic expansion. Sol, we have 5 or 5-7. La or lay is still blank. We're not going to get to that. And this week, we're adding for T, we're going to add on the 5-6-5. And also under sol, you could have the 5 or the 5-7. Okay, so you do want to start drilling those and keeping them in mind, because that's going to help you. Once you have your baseline, you're going through your options, you can just draw on your memory for those, right? And you don't have to worry about writing it down or writing it out or any of that stuff. Okay. Okay, so let's drill down into dominant 7th chords a little bit more. You are going to have the baseline written down, but let's talk about the function of that bass note a little bit, and it's going to help you know. Let's say you get 1 bass pitch, but you're not clear on what follows it. So let's talk about where those bass pitches can go. In root position, the 5, if it goes to 1, so let's actually back that up. There's a little law, okay, in tonic expansion. A 5-7 has to go to a 1 chord, or it can go to another 5-7 chord in a different inversion. So if you hear it going from a 5-7 to 1, that's where these rules come into play. So if it's in root position, it has to go to a root position 1 chord. And one of those is going to be incomplete, although that's not terribly applicable here, but it kind of helps to know that. If it's in first inversion, so T is in the bass, that T has to go to 1. T always goes to do. Okay, so the 5-4-3, again, Re is our tricky little wild card. It can go to either place. It can go down to do, or it can go up to mi or may. Okay, so it can go to the root position 1, or it can go to the 1-6. The 5-4-2, so in third inversion, that fa always resolves down to mi or may. Okay, and a lot of times you'll get this sort of appoggiatura at the beginning of a dictation. So this nice little sigh. And if you listen for it, that will pop out in your ears and you will hear it, and it should be like an instant, okay, 5, 4, 2, 1, 6. Because it went up, goes boop, boop, okay. Let's just try, let's play around with this a little bit and see if you can identify which solfege syllable is in the bass. But you're listening for where does it want to go? Does it want to resolve up by half step? Does it want to go by leap? Does it want to go either direction, or does it have to go down? Okay. Here are, you have on your worksheet just 4 blanks, and you can try this along with me. So the first one, I'll give you our key real quick. Here's our first one. What feels like it's in the bass? See if you can try it. Okay. Next one. So number 2. Number 3. Okay, and number 4. Okay, so let's talk about those. So number 1, again, we're in C. Let's listen. So that's fa, mi, in the bass. I'll show you those there. So fa, mi. Number 2, we were in A, and we had this. Sorry. So that was a root position. If I can play piano. 201 chord. Okay, so that's sol, do in the bass. Here we go in B flat. So here we have re, which could go re to the 1/6, or it could go re, do. Okay, so that's our wild card there. Okay, and then finally we're in G for number 4. Listen here, this do. So that's a little thing that could help you out if you can really master it. You'll do a little bit of practice. It's just to help shore up your ear and get you comfortable with how those pitches work and the function of them. Okay, so nothing too serious. So let's do a little bit of practice with tonic expansion. So remember, you're going to identify the key. Think about the pitch options for the 5/7 chord. So think about what's your do. So we're here in E minor. Okay, so E is do. What pitch is sol? B. Okay, so go ahead and spell out in your head the 5/7 chord. B, D sharp, F sharp, and A. So remember that D sharp isn't present in the natural key signature, so you're going to have to add it in if you get it. Okay, let's try it out. All right, so the first one, okay, so here's our key. First, get the bass line. Okay, so just 3 chords, simple enough. Okay, more time for the chords, for the bass line. Okay, so that is pretty simple. Do, re, mi. So now your job is to think through your flashcards. You're in tonic expansion. What are your options for re? So we know 1 and mi, do and mi have to be so we know do, re, mi, and we know do has to be 1, and we know mi has to be 1/6. But what about re? What are our options for that? That's our wild card, remember? So it can be, last week we had 7 diminished 6, and we had 5/6/4, or passing 6/4. And now we're going to add in the 5/4/3, and we're actually going to kind of hold off on the 6/4 for now. So your question is going to be more, is it diminished or is it dominant? And it's quite a subtle difference. There's a little bit, so first of all, there's more notes in the 5/4/3, right? It has 4 notes instead of 3. So it's a little bit crunchier. You're going to have a second in there that you're listening for that you won't have in the 7 diminished 6. So let's take a listen. Okay, so that is the 5/4/3. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So if your alternative is the 7 diminished 6, right? And how do you spell 7 diminished 6? That would be a B. No, sorry. It would be a D sharp, an F, and an A. What we wouldn't have is sol. Okay, so 7 diminished 6 is T, Re, Fa. A 5/4/3 is sol, T, Re, Fa. So they're almost the same chord. In fact, a lot of people think they're interchangeable, which is why I don't worry too much about it if you can't hear the difference on every single test. So if you're stressing about that, take a deep breath and calm down and move on. It's nice to be able to hear the difference. It's not necessary, at least for this class. Okay, but what you can listen for, there's a couple things. You can listen for sol as a common tone, that repeating through the chords. You can listen for more notes, right? Sol, T, Re, Fa versus T, Re, Fa, or sometimes just T and Fa. If Re isn't doubled, that's a possibility too. So let's listen to the difference. See, here's what we had. So you have sol, sol, sol. You're in luck if sol is in the upper voice, although that's pretty rare because having a common tone in the upper voice is really boring. But if you hear a common tone in the upper voice, it has to be a 5/4/3. So that's a little tip. Versus you can hear then you get the octave doubled because it has to go down. If you didn't have that, if Re wasn't doubled, then it would just be that. So it's a little emptier, so it's crunchy. Sorry. But it's definitely, it's less dense, which almost makes the crunchiness of it stand out a bit more. Okay? Let's go on. Let's try another one. This time we're in D minor. So think about the key. Do. Think about do, mi, a 1 chord. Do and mi, what are do and mi? They're D and F. Okay, and what's a 5/7 chord? So spell 5/7 chord in D minor. Okay, it's A, C sharp, E, and G natural. So remember that you'll need that C sharp. If you come across a T, you'll have to add that sharp. Okay, so let's listen for the bass. So first thing I want you to do, actually, before you even get the bass line, take one listening and do a quick map. So you have 5 chords. So this last chord is a whole note. And kind of circle the ones that you think sound dominant. Okay, so you're going to make a map the first listening. And you're going to circle what sounds dominant. And that's going to help you figure out the bass, if there's a skip or a leap. Okay, give that a try. So this first listening, just make a map. Here's your key. Listen once more for the map. So you should have a circle here and a circle here. Those are your dominant chords. Okay, so now listen for the bass. 2 listenings for the bass. Okay, so you've got some leaps there, but use some logic, and we'll talk about that logic in a minute, but see if you can figure it out. Okay, so we have a leap up, and then a step down, and then a leap down, and a step up. If we have dominant chords, where does it have to leap up to? It has to leap up. If it leaps up and steps down, okay, to a 1 chord, it has to be going fa, may. So that would look like this. Just going to zoom in just a smidge, right? Because if it went to a regular 5/7 chord and it leapt up to sol, that would be a leap followed by a skip. But we have a leap followed by a step. So that means we have to be going, let me actually make that a little nicer. We have to be going do, fa, may, and then we're leaping down and stepping up. So where are we going to leap down to if it's a dominant chord? That would, so first of all, your last note is, you could write in your last note as do if you hear that you end on do. What's a half step below do? Or what's a step below do? C. And that has to be C sharp, remember, because for our 5/7 chord, we have to raise that leading tone. Okay, so we have do, fa, may, ti, do. Okay, so that our chords, this has to be a 1. Fa, our only option right now is 5/4/2. May is a 1/6. T could be a 5/6 or a 5/6/5. So we're going to listen for that. And then a 1. Okay, so see how using logic you can get the vast majority of the progression. Okay, good. So let's give it a try just listening for the chords. How about 2 listenings? One more. So you're listening for how crunchy it is. Is it really crunchy? Or is it just kind of like major? Okay, let's take a look. Okay, So it is a 5-4-2, 1-6, 5-6-5. You've got that second in there, that major second that really just, right, has to resolve. It's okay. So it's the tension that's created by that second in the inner voices, or it would be a minor seventh if it was spread out. But then also the tritone between the C sharp and the G, okay, that has to come in. So that is what makes classical music, and it helps. What tells you, it's what helps to tell you that we are in the key of D, and that D is Do. Okay, that is it. Okay, so go try some practice. It's gonna be a little different this week. You're gonna have those mapping listenings, and then you're gonna do the bass, and then you're going to do the chords. Okay, so make sure you take advantage of that and be marking where you hear the dominant chords, and use for the different listings, you're going to use the MIDI mixer to change the volume for whatever you want to highlight. Okay, so good luck with that, and I will talk to you guys in the melodic dictation / sight singing video. Okay, bye.